tell you a European folktale named Rumpelstiltskin by two very famous brothers, the Grimm brothers. Have you guys ever been faced with a very hard situation where you have no idea of what to do or how to respond? Yes, huh? Well, in this story, the girl in this story is faced with a very hard situation and she has no idea of how to respond to it. So let's find out how she actually responded to it. So, in a land far, far away, there lived an old miller with his beautiful daughter. One day, as the old miller was working on his grain, the king and his man rode by horseback, collecting taxes. The old miller said, "I have very little money, your majesty, but I have a beautiful daughter. I am not interested in beauty at this moment. I am interested in the richness and wealthness of the world." And so, with the old miller, without thinking, said, "Well, my daughter knows how to spin straw into gold." "Is that right?" said the king. "Yes, your majesty. If that is so, bring her to my palace tomorrow, and I shall put her ability to test." Then, the old miller sent his daughter off to the palace so she could have her ability tested. And as soon as she walked in the palace, the king took her to a room and put her in with a room filled with straw. In the middle were a spindle and a wheel, so that she could spin that straw into gold. And the king told, "Spin this straw into gold before sunrise, and if you don't comply, your punishment will be death." And he turned over and he locked the girl inside the room. The old miller's daughter got so frustrated and started crying. Well, she did not know how to turn straw into gold. Suddenly, she heard the door crack open and she saw a strange little man walk in. The strange little man asked, "Old miller's daughter, why are you crying? What is that awful that has happened to you?" The girl cried and sobs replied, "I have been commanded to turn this straw into gold, but I don't know how to." The strange little man walked across the room, kicking the straw on the floor, and he said, "I know how to turn straw into gold." "You do?" she cried. "Yes. What would you give me if I turned this straw into gold?" "My necklace! Here, take it! I will give you my necklace!" she replied. And so the strange little man sat on the spinning wheel and started spinning the straw into gold until they all became beautiful threads of gold. And then he went away. The next morning, when the king came and saw that the room was filled with beautiful thread of gold, he got very greedy. And he got surprised by seeing that what the old miller had said was right, that the daughter could turn straw into gold. So he took her to an even bigger room filled with straw and told her, "You shall turn this straw into gold before sunrise, and you shall live," he said. And so, once again, the girl sat there not knowing what to do until she heard the door crack open again. And there came the strange little man. The strange little man came in and said, "What would you give me if I turned this straw into gold?" And she replied, she looked all over herself and said, "My ring, I will give you my ring." And so she gave him her ring. And the little man sat there, spoof, 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 spinning that straw into gold. He had turned the whole room into spindles of gold, and he left looking at his beautiful ring that he had just collected. Once again in the morning, when the king came and saw that the room was filled with precious thread of gold, he was surprised again, and he said, "I will take you to the biggest room in my palace, and if you turn that into gold, then I should make you my wife." And so he took her to that biggest room in the palace. That room was filled with straw all the way to the ceiling. It was bigger, and there was more straw than both of the last rooms combined. And so she sat there and quietly waited. She heard the crack door open, and out came the little man. And he asked, "What will you give me if I turn this straw into gold?" And she said, "I have nothing else to offer you." And so the little man walked around the room, kicking the straw on the floor, thinking, and he says, "I got it! If I spin this straw into gold for you, you shall give me your firstborn child when you are queen." The girl replied, "Yes, yes." She thought that maybe he would forget about the deal once this was over. And so he spun that straw into gold and filled the room with all that precious thread of gold. And when the king came and he saw that all that straw was threaded into gold, he married the girl. And on their first year, they had a beautiful baby boy. One night, as the queen was rocking her baby to sleep, she heard the crack door open, and in it came a strange little man. That strange little man said, "I have came to pick up what you have promised me, my queen." And the queen got so scared to give her beloved son to this strange little man, and she cried and she said, "Please don't take my baby." The strange little man got so commoved by what she was, since the queen was crying. So he said, "I will make a deal with you. I will give you 3 days so you can figure out what my name is. If you figure out my name, you can keep your child." And so it happened to be that the queen, started writing every name that she had thought of between all the names she had heard throughout her lifetime. And on the first day when the strange little man came, she told her, "Is your name Phil, Will, Richard?" And he replied no to every single one of them. Then the queen sent his servants over to the countryside to find out all the weird names. And he came back and said, "Is it Skinny Ribs, Mad Chops, Skillet? That should be your name. Yes, that should be your name." "Nope," he replied, "that is not my name." And so on the 3rd day, the queen sent his servants out to the forest to find any indice of a weird name that he could be called. Then one servant came back and told the queen, "I have seen a man dancing around the fire, and he was singing this tune of saying, the queen is so big, the queen is so tall, I should have her kid since she doesn't know Rumpelstiltskin is my name." The queen quickly lighted up with glee since she knew that was going to be his name. She had recognized, because every time that he had walked in and he would spin that gold, he would sing an unfamiliar, funny tune. And that song had that tune. So she knew from there. And so when he walked in the door for the 3rd time, she said, "You said is your name Bill?" "No." "Could it be Phil? Could it be real? Or perhaps it could be Rumpelstiltskin." The strange little man bucked and hugged and jumped and thumped and ran, and he was filled with anger. And he jumped out that window, and he was never ever seen again. The end. Did you like it? Yeah? What was the part you liked the most?
When he jumped in, Thompson jumped out the window.
Really? Why did you like that part?
Because he was angry.
All right, awesome.
Layla is sleeping.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so we have a little girl jumping into her interview. And I think that should kill it, and we should close that interview for tonight. All right.